What is the mission of a monastery? In the prologue of our constitutions, the nature and purpose of monastic life is expressed as wholly dedicated and ordered to contemplation. Other expressions used in this opening constitution, number 2, are worship of God, assiduous prayer, hidden life. This is our mission. Its life is hidden only insofar as its ministry is not overt. That is, we are not feeding the poor and clothing the naked, etc. Prayer in all its forms is hidden. We never know its impact. It is like a stone dropped into a stream. Circles of life ripple forth. Who these ripples are touching, how they are impacting anyone or our world, all of this falls into mystery, a hidden mystery. The impact of prayer, its result, if you will, is only known to God and ultimately rests with God. In other words, only God can bring to fruit the intention behind and in our prayer. Is this not ego-shattering, that we cannot make our prayer bring any result? In prayer, the ego cannot be puffed up saying, "See what I did." Indeed, this life, this monastic life, is a hidden, humble, and noble life. And it has to be so. For prayer, any form of prayer, means the ego must be servant. It must allow itself to be the vessel, the earthen clay vessel of God's work. Letting go, surrender, is its continuous mantra, along with faith. Faith that prayer is effective and transformative in and through this hidden, obscure life. So our mission is pretty straightforward. Contemplative prayer, silent prayer of the heart that unites us, ones us with God, and through this union with all humanity and creation. And this contemplative prayer takes on many forms. No matter what form we are engaged in, whether it is the divine office and the Mass, or Lectio Divina, the Rosary, intercessory prayer, silent meditative prayer, they all are to have a contemplative dimension. Silence is the ambience in whatever prayer practice we are engaged in. This silence is always the silence of God. For God works in these silent spaces of word and no word. To shift somewhat, I said recently that I saw this year as one of renewal for each of us individually and as a community. For this renewal to happen, we have to be clear about our mission. Every monastery is an oasis in the desert of human life. Monasteries remain verdant and alive to the degree that renewal is happening day in and day out in the individuals that live within the monastery walls and in the community as a whole. If contemplative prayer and prayer in its various forms is our mission, then this entails our own inner process of transformation. Any intimate relation with Christ means the heart, our heart, is fully engaged in the process of transformation. There is no prayer life that does not lead us into the way of conversion and transformation. Lastly, what draws guests to a monastery, this monastery? Is it simply the beauty of the physical environment? Of course, this plays a part. Still, there are so many beautiful places in California and in the United States. If we had to choose one main element, it would be, I believe, the fact that there is a monastic witness, a community embodying a way to God, no matter how imperfectly they are living it. The intention of each member and the intention of the community as a whole to seek God, to unite their lives to God, not counting the cost that this way demands, carries a power and energy that is beyond any one person or community. The community embodying this monastic witness does not have to be perfect in its living. The choir does not have to be perfect. The meditation does not have to be without distraction for it to be heard by God. No, the intention, the desire to give the all of our love is what is heard. Look at the publican and sinner, whose prayer is really heard. We acknowledge our brokenness, our resistances, our overpowering emotions, and yet we still cry out in faith our prayers before God. Dom Bernardo Oliveira, in his introduction to the book, A Monastic Vision for the 21st Century, writes this about renewal, quote, "Radical nuns and monks are those who are rooted and grounded in love, rooted in Christ and built upon Him. If we believe, as I hope we do, that He loved us and gave Himself up for us, there is only one option possible: to die in order to live in Him and to serve everyone." End quote. This is what a monastery wholly ordered to contemplative prayer is to lead its members to. Rooting us more and more in love, which is Christ, and then to live this love concretely in this little monastery of Northern California. Our world desperately needs the presence of monasteries, and we are part of that monastic link throughout the world, where the work of God, prayer, in its hidden form, contributes to extending God's salvation to the ends of the earth.